My family favored sons over daughters. My younger sister, Sophia, and I were abused by our parents from childhood. We only had each other to rely on. So, when we won 50 million, I only told Sophia and cautioned her to keep it a secret. But she immediately went online and posted, "My sister won the lottery. From now on, I'm rich too." As soon as our parents saw this, they rushed to me, demanding I hand over all the money. "You good for nothing. What do you need money for? It's for your brother." I refused. Enraged, our parents and brother ganged up and choked me to death in our rented room. Before I died, I heard Sophia's voice, filled with malicious glee. "Wasn't it better to suffer together? Why did you win the lottery and not me? You want to live lavishly? I won't let you open your eyes again." I was reborn. I returned to the day I won the lottery. "You good for nothing, always hungry. You've already eaten. What are you eating? Why don't you just eat yourself to death?" Mother swung her hand and slapped me. I still had a chicken drumstick in my mouth. The sudden slap left me stunned, my face burning. But it was thanks to that pain that I quickly realized I had been reborn. It was like surfacing from the bottom of the sea. I inhaled a deep breath of fresh air. The agonizing sensation of being killed was still vivid. I stood there motionless as Mother's curses continued. "We shouldn't have given birth to these two good-for-nothings. They only caused trouble." At that moment, Sophia stood in the corner of the room, coldly observing everything. I had been reborn right at the moment I found the winning lottery ticket from the trash, a jackpot of 50 million. If I remembered correctly, this beating was because Sophia had secretly eaten the leftover chicken in the middle of the night. When she heard Mother coming out of the bedroom, she rushed out of the kitchen, shoved the remaining chicken into my mouth, and pleaded, "Sister, you don't want me to get hit, do you? Please, Mother loves you a little more than me." At that time, not wanting Sophia to get hurt, I gritted my teeth and endured. But that so-called "Mother loves you more" was truly ridiculous. She knew very well that our parents favored sons over daughters. From childhood, we had been beaten countless times. Whenever our brother was unhappy, it was always Sophia and I who bore the brunt of the punishment. I used to think Sophia loved me as much as I loved her. I thought she would be happy when I won the lottery and would leave this suffocating house with me. But instead, she posted it online, letting everyone, including our parents, know. When I confronted Sophia about why she did it, she acted pitiful, saying she was just too happy and forgot to block people. I temporarily believed her, thinking she was simply excited, having never seen so much money before. So I moved out with her. But she told our parents our address. That night, our enraged parents and brother came for me. Father grabbed my hair, demanding all the money. Mother cursed me, calling me ungrateful and treacherous, saying she raised me only for me to leave nothing for the family. "What does a good-for-nothing need money for? We need to keep it for your brother in the future." I stubbornly hid the bank card on my person. I knew that if I handed over the money, Sophia and I would be trapped in that dark house again, our freedom forever out of reach, eventually forced into marriage for a meager dowry. When I refused to give them the card or the password, my brother, unaccustomed to being contradicted since childhood, red-eyed, grabbed my collar and called me a coward. Our parents didn't stop him. Instead, they coldly laughed and threatened, "You know how your brother is. If you don't speak, prepare to die." I despairingly looked at Sophia, begging for her to call the police, but she just stood there, her eyes filled with cold indifference. In the end, the card was snatched. I heard the sound of my neck bone shattering. Air could no longer enter my lungs, my consciousness gradually faded. At that moment, I heard Sophia's voice, amplified in my ear. "Sister, wasn't it better to suffer with me? Why did you win the lottery and not me? You want to live a good life? I won't allow it." Memories of my past life flooded back like a tide. My body trembled uncontrollably. I should have realized sooner that Sophia was evil from birth. She never wanted me to live well. When I excelled in school, she deliberately sowed discord with Mother, saying I was intentionally showing off because her grades were always poor. Mother, listening to Sophia, would often raise her hand to hit me. This family was full of devils. In this life, I wouldn't be so foolish again. "Sister, are you okay? What were you trying to tell me earlier?" Sophia leaned her head over, without a trace of remorse for having just blamed me. At that moment, I had intended to secretly tell her about the lottery win, but now I simply gripped the ticket tightly in my hand and calmly replied, "Just wanted to tell you I'm going to university tomorrow. Remember to take care of yourself at home." I saw a flicker of jealousy in Sophia's eyes that I hadn't noticed in my past life. Sophia and I started school late, enrolling in the same year as our brother. Our parents were forced by the villagers to agree to let us go to school. Fortunately, thanks to policy, I was able to complete 9 years of education. When I entered first grade, I was nearly 10 years old but couldn't read a single letter. I studied diligently because I had understood early on that only by excelling in academics could I change my fate. I didn't want to spend my entire life collecting trash. I put all my effort into saving money for textbooks, which my parents wouldn't spend a single penny on. I studied very well, but Sophia and my brother were always at the bottom of their class. They dropped out early. Only I took the university entrance exam and received an admission letter, signaling my success in changing my fate. Only now did I realize Sophia had always been jealous of me. I had thought she would be happy for me, just as I was always happy for her good fortunes. It turned out I was just deluding myself. My family originally didn't want me to go to university. I pleaded that I would apply for tuition loans, work part-time, and wouldn't need financial support from the family. I only needed my parents' consent to borrow our household registration and ID card for enrollment procedures. I promised that after graduation, I could earn a lot of money to repay the family. Our parents wanted to marry me off to an old man for a $200,000 dowry. But if I went to university, I could earn much more than that. Hearing my reasoning, they agreed. At that time, Sophia held my hand, pretending to shed a few tears. "Sister, can you take me with you?" It wasn't that I didn't want to take her, but my life was already too difficult. I couldn't take care of another person. I only wanted her to wait until I became successful and spread my wings so I could fly far with her. But when she heard my refusal, Sophia immediately changed her attitude, shoved my hand away, looked at me angrily, and said, "You want to abandon me, leaving me to live a life worse than death in this house. You always say you care about me, but when things get difficult, you run away. You're such a hypocrite." I was sad for a long time over that incident, and no matter how I explained, Sophia wouldn't listen. I should have realized sooner. For all these years, Sophia had been idle and unproductive, with no ambition, only knowing how to demand things from me. She truly was an ungrateful and selfish person. "Sister, can you take me with you?" Sophia asked the same question as in my past life. I looked at her coldly. "If you can work there and support yourself, then I'll take you." Sophia froze, speechless. I knew her too well. Housework was supposed to be shared between us, but every time she would pretend to be unwell, sometimes complaining of pain here, other times needing to use the restroom. I understood her intentions, but still thought she was young, and we were both struggling in this family, so I should take care of her more. But now I wouldn't spoil her anymore. After I spoke, Sophia's face turned ashen. In my past life, I had gently advised her, analyzed the pros and cons, and painted a bright future, but she hadn't appreciated it. Now I spoke coldly to shut her up. "Just say you don't want to take me. What do you think I can do? How am I supposed to work?" she replied resentfully. In my heart, I knew perfectly well that she just wanted to take advantage of me, thinking I wouldn't bear to let her suffer and would take her along, becoming a mother figure caring for her. "Think whatever you want. I'm tired and need to rest." With that, I pushed Sophia out. Perhaps she didn't expect me to suddenly become so cold. She stood at the door, unwilling to leave. "Sister, did you find a lottery ticket while collecting trash? Did you win?" It was then I understood her true intention was not just to come with me. I didn't change my expression, curling my lips slightly. "You're thinking too much. Lottery tickets aren't easy for ordinary people like us to win." But Sophia wouldn't give up, blocking the doorway. "But I dreamed you won 50 million. I stared at Sophia, startled. No, she hadn't been reborn. Could it be that my rebirth had caused a butterfly effect? Seeing my silence, Sophia pulled my sleeve. "I want to check. What if you misread it?" Anyway, when I woke up, I didn't remember the dream details clearly, but it felt very real. I frowned and thought, had she seen it? But thinking back, I had hidden the lottery ticket very well. Even if she searched my room, she wouldn't find it. It could only be that she had searched but found nothing, which made her suspicious and determined to get to the bottom of it. "All right, I won't lie to you anymore. Actually, I won $100 here for you to spend." I feigned a helpless smile, taking out a $100 bill I had saved from selling scrap and handing it to her. If I had insisted I hadn't one, she definitely wouldn't have let it go. Sophia contentedly took the money, not a word of thanks. She jumped for joy and left. I sighed in relief, but from then on, I no longer had any expectations for this family. To be precise, I had no expectations for Sophia whatsoever. She truly was an evil person. As for our parents, they only loved our brother. Sophia and I were just burdens in their eyes, things that brought bad luck. The next day, as I packed my belongings, preparing to leave the house, Mother started nagging with venomous words the moment I stepped into the yard. Remember to send money home every month. Don't think that just because you're going to university, you can do whatever you want. If you can't earn money, come back here and get married. Mr. Zhang in the village is ready to pay a 200,000 dowry and marry you right away. Other mothers would admonish their daughters to take care of themselves when they leave home, not to get sick, not to suffer. But from my mother's mouth, it was all about money. My feelings for this family had been killed by them in my past life. I took a deep breath, turned to look at Mother. If you hated me so much, why did you give birth to me in the first place? Mother was stunned, seemingly unaccustomed to my defiance. Sophia quickly stepped forward, saying, "Sister, how can you talk to Mother like that? Mother worked hard to give birth and raise us. If you're not grateful, fine, but don't say such ungrateful things." Her words indeed enraged Mother. She raised her hand to hit me, cursing, "If I had known you were such a burden, I would have certainly taken action. If it wasn't for the village propagating that killing a newborn would land you in jail, I would have drowned you too in the toilet long ago." Her hand swung, but I quickly grabbed it. I looked at Mother coldly, then glanced at Sophia. She pretended not to see my gaze and turned her head away. From childhood, Sophia always liked to provoke trouble like this, thinking that if Mother dealt with me, it wouldn't be her turn. She thought that by doing so, Mother would love her more, but she never came to her senses. She never understood. All these years, had Mother treated her any better? Never. It was truly ridiculous. Mother's anger flared even more. "Are you rebelling? Don't think that just because you got into university, you're formidable. I'll always be your mother." I took a deep breath and let out a cold laugh. "But I don't want you as a mother. I don't want this family anymore either. Name a price. How much for me to sever ties with this family?" Mother's eyes narrowed, her face full of suspicion. "Where would you get the money?" Sophia immediately turned around, surprised, asking, "Sister, could it be that you really?" I immediately raised my hand to stop both of them from speaking, quickly replying, "I don't have money, but I'll borrow, loan, even steal to pay you back." I couldn't admit I had money, but what I truly wanted was to sever ties with this family. As for the lottery ticket, I didn't know how long I could keep it a secret, but for now, I needed a formal severance, even if it was just a formality. Seeing Mother silent, I added, "And don't expect me to send you money for the rest of your life. Can you decide about your future? Name a price. Is 300,000 enough? Mr. Zhang in the village only offered 20,000 for a dowry. For all these years, they had never spent more than 10,000 on me, but ever since I gained consciousness, they had made me work tirelessly. My tuition money came from me collecting cigarette butts, cardboard, and bottles from the dump, saving bit by bit. If there was any extra money, they would scrape it clean to spend on my brother. All that was left was my life, and that had already been paid for in the previous one. I didn't owe them, they owed me. I knew that proposing 300,000 would surely not be enough for them, but it set a benchmark so they wouldn't dare ask for more. Hearing me say that, Sophia pouted, looking disappointed. Mother looked into the house, then laughed coldly. 300,000, don't even think about it. Even if I hate you, your life was given by me. I raised you this long, fed you, housed you. You think 300,000 is enough to sever ties? You want to break off? If you have the guts, bring out 1,000,000. I turned and went into the house to look at Father. Father shared the same intention. Father and my brother sat in the room, one scoffing, the other sitting silently with a stern face, but both were actually masterminds behind the scenes, never revealing their greedy faces. This family's greed was disgusting. They weren't my relatives, they were a bunch of devils who only knew how to suck my blood. I sighed, resolutely nodding. "Fine, I'll find a way to get the money. You write the agreement and I'll record a video. Once the money is in the account, we'll go to the police station to remove my household registration." I took out my phone, paper, and pen. I knew them better than anyone. They would act outrageously, shamelessly, without limits. If there was no evidence, they would certainly go back on their word. Even with evidence, they would still bother me, but at least with proof in hand, I would have a slight advantage. Hearing me say that, the whole family burst into laughter. Mother laughed so hard she couldn't stand straight. "All right, hand it over, I'll sign it for you and you can record the video." Mother perfunctorily wrote the severance agreement as I dictated. My brother looked at me mockingly. "You think getting into university means you can earn this much money?" Sophia probably also thought I was a dreamer. gazing at me with disdain. I didn't care if they believed me or not. I pulled my old suitcase, picked from the dump, and walked out the door, taking one last look at this house, where for so many years there had only been cursing, beatings, and injustice. There were no beautiful memories. Sophia chased after me, arrogantly asking, "Sister, you're really not taking me with you?" As if my companionship was a great favor to me, my face was expressionless. From the moment she exploited me, was ungrateful, and ruined our affection, she and I were no longer family. Sophia flashed a moment of guilt but still defiantly replied, "If you don't take me, I'll have to live in this house, won't I? You know how Mother treats me." I nodded. "Then stay and live well." Soft mud that can't be used to build a wall only knows to stand in the middle, waiting for immediate benefits. I want to see who will protect you after I'm gone. I knew this family very well. They would drain her to the bone. Sophia angrily yelled after me, "You'll regret this someday. Remember my words." I didn't care about the angry words behind me, walking away without a trace of reluctance. After disguising myself, I went to the lottery center to claim the prize. In my past life, I hadn't even had a chance to spend this large sum before it was stolen, and I lost my life as well. In this life, I had to plan carefully. After completing my university enrollment, I bought a house and divided the money into different bank accounts, living off the interest. As long as I didn't invest recklessly, get involved in stocks, or spend lavishly with my cautious nature, I wasn't worried about the money running out quickly. I sent Mother $1 million as per our severance agreement. Stepping out of the bank, I immediately called Mother, pressing the record button. "Ms. Lan Fuong, today is August 25th, 2023, 01 p.m. As per our agreement, I have transferred $1 million to you to sever our ties. I will transfer my household registration immediately. I hope you will cooperate. From now on, we will have no further contact." From the other end of the line, my brother's voice echoed, "You actually have money to transfer $1 million? I'll livestream standing on my head and eating dung if that's true." I sneered. "Go ahead, start your livestream." I waited a moment, then heard Mother urging Father to check the account. Only when Father shouted did Mother believe her. She laughed heartily but then asked in a threatening tone, "You wretched girl, where did that money come from? Let me tell you, don't do anything illegal that implicates us. Your brother still has to study abroad and marry a rich wife." I just found it ridiculous. She was also a woman, but her heart would forever only be for my brother. I gave a cold laugh. "I borrowed it at high interest. If you don't sever ties with me, they will come for you. If you don't want to get involved, take care of it yourselves." If I didn't make it sound serious, Mother would treat me like an ATM, unable to let go. Sure enough, Mother scolded me for a while, then didn't mention the money anymore. A few days later, Mother sent a message and a photo, informing me that my household registration had been separated. I simply replied, "Good." Then I realized I was blocked. Looking at my phone screen, I curled my lips slightly. Finally, it was finalized. Lying on the bed in my brand new 100 square meter apartment, for the first time, I felt peaceful. In the following days, I lived happily, studied diligently, and actively participated in activities, not shying away from difficulties. While others were enjoying student life, dating, and falling in love, I poured all my effort into completing my courses, aiming to maintain my scholarship. Not long after, Sophia called me. I didn't want to pick up, but I thought if I didn't, she would shamelessly do something even more outrageous, so I answered. Sophia's voice rang out, "Sister, can you take me with you?" At home, I'm doing all the housework and taking care of brother, worrying about everything. I'm going crazy. Where did you get $1 million? Was it the lottery? I've been dreaming about it for nights. It feels so real. I'm your only sister. Don't hide it from me. She was probing, but I had used my entire life to learn how to keep a secret. I feigned a panicked tone. "I told you I took out a high-interest loan. I couldn't stand life at home anymore, so I risked my life to borrow money and leave. Recently, debt collectors have been blocking my way. I don't dare go out." I received another call from Sophia. Her tone feigned remorse. "Sister, can you take some of Mother and Father's money and let me use it for a bit? I'll repay the principal, it's fine. I'm your sister. Looking at our past relationship, you always treated me well. Can you help me this one time? Mother and Father have blocked all contact with me." Before Sophia could finish her sentence, from the other end of the line, Mother's loud voice echoed, "You brought this upon yourself. What does it have to do with us? That money was the price to sever family ties. Don't even think about getting it back, and don't think about coming back here. We have no relationship anymore." My brother's voice chimed in. "Father's right. Women really are burdens." They were probing me again. Then came the sound of a crisp slap, followed by Sophia's sobbing. Before hanging up, Mother growled, "This brat, if you dare to contact that hussy Sophia again, I'll marry you off to the old bachelor in the next village." I pressed the record button, sighing in relief. Another recording saved. Good, I knew them well. If I lived well, they would shamelessly come to me. If I fell on hard times, they would run faster than rabbits. Is this a family? They're more hostile than enemies. I continued to live peacefully at university, obtaining a scholarship and virtually securing a position as a research student. Although I had money, I didn't have the knowledge to manage it. Only by continuing to learn would the money not leave me. I unexpectedly met Sophia at the university gate. She looked haggard and aged, her hair dry and tangled, thin, wearing a long-sleeved shirt despite the hot summer, which looked unsuitable. Without me doing the family labor, they only knew how to torment her. "Sister, I really can't stand it anymore. Mother just scolds me or beats me, and whenever brother is unhappy, Mother takes it out on me. Mother even plans to marry me off to an old man in the next village just for a few tens of thousands in dowry. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I ran to find you." Sophia rushed over and grabbed my hand, pulling up my sleeve to reveal bruises. In my past life, I might have pitied her, but remembering what she had done, I felt nothing but hatred. I replied coldly, "Didn't Mother already say? I'm no longer a member of the family. If you're being abused, you can call the police or seek out women's rights organizations. I can't help you." I intended to turn and leave, but Sophia suddenly yelled, "If you don't save me, I'll die here and your conscience won't be at peace." She tried to rush into the street. People around looked at me, until a kind young man held Sophia back, then looked at me with reproach. "What kind of sister are you? Your sister is in trouble and you cold-heartedly abandon her. You've studied for many years, but you've amounted to nothing." I gave a cold laugh. In my past life, when this sister killed me, who spoke up for me? When I was rotting in a dirty rented room, not a single person came to take care of the arrangements. Who stood up to criticize my family? Now, Sophia puts on a show, and suddenly there are so many good Samaritans. Do you people know the truth? Do you understand the root cause? I didn't reply to the young man, I just looked straight at Sophia. She curled her lips into a slight, smug smile. I quickly spoke. "The family has severed ties with me. You took $1 million as ransom for raising me, and you, along with mother and father, forced me to hand over the money when debt collectors were chasing me. Didn't you block me? Mother planned to marry me off to an old man for a dowry, and didn't you say women eventually have to get married and told me to agree early to reduce the burden on the family? Wasn't that you? So why don't you want to do it now that it's your turn?" Sophia's face turned pale, her mouth mouthed to interrupt but was too late. The crowd, hearing the full story, now understood the root cause. The kind young man also let go of her, looking at her with surprise. Seeing public opinion turn, Sophia started crying and playing victim again. "I just wanted you to escape that cruel family early. Didn't you always crave freedom? Why are you blaming me now?" She was indeed still so selfish. I had truly seen through everything. I wondered why, when I was forced into marriage before, Sophia didn't come to me, but she came at this precise moment. If she wanted help, she could have talked to me privately, but she had to make a big scene. Clearly, she didn't want me to live well. She came to the university to cause a disturbance, wanting to give me a bad reputation and drag me down to hell with her. I had told Sophia many times that she needed to study diligently to change her fate, but she was both lazy and greedy, and even criticized me for learning by rote. If she was willing to try, I would have gladly pulled her up, but I couldn't carry her life, nor would I let her blame me. I won't fall for this trick. With that, I turned and walked away. But I hadn't taken more than a few steps when the ear-splitting sound of brakes and a collision echoed from behind. Someone shouted, "Someone got hit by a car." I turned back to see Sophia lying in front of a car and the unlucky driver standing there panicked. A bystander spoke up again. "Why are you just standing there, sister? That's your sister. Are you just going to watch her die? How can someone like you study at such a good university? I'm going to report you. People like you should be expelled." I was truly speechless. Why was this being blamed on me? I didn't push her into the street. She sought her own death. Why could those who just stood by and watched utter words of blame? Oh, because it's too easy to open your mouth and criticize. In the end, I still had to follow Sophia into the ambulance. I had no other choice. I still had my studies. If my reputation was tarnished, my research student deferral might go up in smoke. In the ambulance, Sophia struggled to open her eyes and gripped my hand tightly. I knew you wouldn't abandon me, sister. I knew you still loved me. But I knew she was acting. There was a little blood on her forehead, but it was just a scratch. Her body only had a little dirt. At the university gate, with so many people passing by, no one dared to drive fast. I didn't say anything, and Sophia fainted again, unclear if it was real or fake. I didn't care. At the hospital, I didn't pay the hospital fees. Instead, I used her phone to text her address to Mother, then left immediately. Don't even think I'd spend another penny on her. That evening, I received a message from Sophia. Lily, why did you send my address to Mother? Do you want to kill me? Why didn't you tell me about the lottery win this time? Were you planning to keep it all to yourself? Let me tell you, if you don't find a way to save me from this hell, I'll tell Mother and Father. Reading that cold message, I felt a surge of anger. Sophia had also been reborn. I gripped my phone, my knuckles white. I had tried to prevent Sophia, but now she also had memories of 2 lives like me. If I didn't deal with this, I feared the old tragedy would repeat. I tossed and turned all night, unable to sleep, thinking throughout the night. The university was very annoyed, intending to revoke my research student deferral eligibility. I let them listen to the recordings and showed them the severance contract. Everyone was silent. Finally, they just sighed and told me to try to calm the situation, otherwise, they feared it would affect my future. As for the research student deferral, it would continue as normal. I nodded in agreement. The next day, I asked for a leave of absence and texted Sophia, telling her to come home for a visit. She replied with a triumphant tone. I knew you'd be scared, Lily. You can't escape me. After helping me get out of here, you have to give me another 30 million. Otherwise, I'll tell the whole world. I gave a cold laugh. Sophia was indeed greedier than Mother. She was the most hateful person. I didn't reply, but she probably didn't care, as she was now dreaming of my imminent surrender and her becoming rich. This time, she was indeed wiser, understanding that holding money in her own hands was beneficial. Perhaps in her past life, her end wasn't good also because our parents favored sons over daughters, and any money was only used to help our brother live lavishly. Back at home, Mother's face was as dark as a coal mine. She tried to slap me, but I dodged. You white-eyed wolf, what are you doing back here? Your sister is in the hospital and you're not worried. You're making us pay. If she hadn't gone looking for you and gotten hit by a car, would this have happened? It turned out that Sophia had deliberately run into the road to get hit by a car and was judged to be fully responsible. It seemed Mother couldn't get compensation money from the driver and had to pay for medical expenses, so she was annoyed and took it out on me. Hearing Mother's words, I burst into tears, knelt down, and grabbed her pant leg. Mother, I was wrong. I didn't take good care of her. She said Mother abused her at home, making her life worse than death. That's why she ran headfirst into the car. Anyway, she's your daughter, my sister. I can't just watch her die. If I didn't do something, how would outsiders view you? Mother was stunned, standing frozen in surprise. I continued, Mother, I won the lottery, 50 million. Mother's eyes lit up with greed. She looked elated. 50 million? Quickly transfer the money to me. Your brother wants a big villa. Mother no longer bothered to put on an act in front of me. She didn't care that our relationship had been severed, but that was good. This family's greed was exactly what I needed. Father, hearing this, couldn't sit still. He quickly stepped forward. Transfer the money to Father right away. What do women and girls need so much money for? My brother stood behind, shouting, You useless person, how did you get so lucky? Quickly give me the money. All the money in this house belongs to me. I gave a cold laugh, continuing to sob. It's all gone, all gone. It was all stolen by the loan sharks. Before, I owed so much money, interest on interest, up to 30 or 40 million. They forced me to hand over everything. Now there's only about 400,000 or 500,000 left. My brother couldn't stand the shock and lunged forward, intending to hit me. I quickly covered my head. I wouldn't dare lie to you all. I can show you the transaction history. I opened the banking app on my phone. Inside were various transfer transactions, along with a series of threatening messages. The balance was only just over 400,000. You useless person, you can't even hold on to money. My brother angrily grabbed my collar, demanding I transfer all the remaining money. I nodded frantically. I'll transfer everything. I wouldn't dare keep a single penny. My brother finally let go. I took a few deep breaths to regain my strength. Then, I secretly switched screens, tapping on another almost identical logo. These messages and transaction history, of course, were fake to make them believe me. After transferring the money to Mother, the three of them were still immersed in heavy disappointment. Mother looked at me angrily. "You rude brat, who told you to borrow so much money? Couldn't you have just not repaid it?" I continued to sob. Sophia was the first one to find out. She threatened me to give her money. I wanted to give Mother a sum in exchange for severing ties with the family. "Mother, I only severed ties with you because I didn't want to add to your burden, but she wanted to usurp all the money." Mother angrily threw the broom in her hand to the ground, gritting her teeth. "That ungrateful brat. If I had known, I should have thrown her down the drain when she was born." I immediately seized the opportunity. "Mother, just marry her off. Daughters are more obedient once married." Mother stopped and seemed to ponder. Sophia panted as she pushed the door open and entered, still with a trace of joy on her face. "Mother, you agreed?" Hearing this, Mother turned her malicious gaze towards Sophia. "You shameless thing, let's see if I beat you to death." With that, Mother grabbed the broom and lunged to hit Sophia repeatedly. Sophia, before she could understand what was happening, covered her head while crying out in pain, looking at me and cursing. "Lily, you bitch, how dare you betray me?" Sophia turned to Mother. "Sister won 50 million, Mother, take her money." It seemed Sophia thought that by saying so, Mother would stop, who knew she would be hit even more fiercely. "You still have the nerve to mention it. If your sister hadn't told the truth, how would I know you intended to usurp it?" Watching the dog-eat-dog scene, I felt immensely satisfied, but it still wasn't enough. In this life, Sophia only owed me kindness, but the Sophia of my past life owed me her very life. I shed tears, saying to Mother, "Mother, just marry her off. Daughters are more obedient once married." Mother paused, seemingly thinking. Sophia looked at me in surprise, unable to believe me. I wanted to ask Sophia if that statement sounded familiar. In my past life, when I said I wanted to go to university, Mother told me my greed was higher than the heavens, unfilial, and what did Sophia say then? She said to just marry me off to get the wedding money, that once married, I would be obedient and only think of my birth family. I had once begged Mother, but Mother insisted on marrying me off, and then the lottery happened. Now, I returned her every word. "Lily, how dare you?" Sophia angrily lunged to hit me, but Father kicked her hard in the chest, sending her flying far, hitting her head on the cabinet and knocking her unconscious. "Mother, I can't stay here long, the debt collectors will come." Hearing this, Mother hurriedly pushed me out the door with a rare, better-than-ever attitude. "Then go quickly, don't come back if there's nothing important later." I feigned reluctance. "Mother, how are you going to deal with my sister?" "She's so beautiful, she'll definitely marry someone rich. I remember there's a family in North Village who wants to pay 500,000 for a wife." At this, Mother's eyes lit up again. She grabbed my hand. "Where?" I briefly mentioned the address. She could easily find it. In my past life, I was almost married off to that family. A family in a small rural area that could offer 500,000 for a wife, of course, had its reasons. Their son was mentally challenged, couldn't find a wife, and the family was known for being scoundrels. One could say that family was a perfect symmetry to mine, one in the north, one in the south of the district. A poor family background, the 500,000 dowry was also money borrowed from everywhere. But even if they offered that sum, conscientious families would never marry their daughters to someone like that. But not my family. After that, I didn't care about the family anymore. They also didn't dare come looking for me, fearing implication in my debts. I smoothly graduated with a master's degree, started my own company, and prospered in business. I didn't choose to go abroad because I was concerned about instability. I heard that Sophia was eventually married off to North Village, abused to the point of ruination by her husband and in-laws. Her husband was not only mentally challenged, but also suffered from violent tendencies, frequently beating her. She became pregnant 3 times, but all were beaten to miscarriage. Her in-laws always hoped for a grandson to carry on the family name, but no child could ever be born. As for my parents, the money they took from me and the dowry from selling my sister were quickly squandered by my brother. They even piled up debts. This didn't surprise me. They had no ability to hold on to money. But that wasn't enough. This retribution was still too small. I was not satisfied, but before I could make a move, the 3 of them came to my house again. The moment my brother stepped into the villa, he acted arrogantly, as if entering his own home, not bothering to take off his shoes, stepping directly on the expensive carpet. "If Sophia hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known you're so successful now, sister. I like this house. Quickly transfer it to me." He sat down on the sofa, his face full of confidence. I suppressed my anger, trying to stay calm. "I'm renting this house. It looks good on the outside, but in reality, I still owe billions. If you can help me repay the debt." Mother, hearing this, quickly pulled him up. "Bad luck, let's go, don't let this vixen cling to you." The best way to deal with them was to use their own tactics against them. I had to live worse than them. But father was not easily fooled. He sneered, "Don't think we're fools. How can you run such a big company and not have money?" I frowned, feigning difficulty. "Father, you don't know this, but this company was started by several rich young masters in partnership. I'm just an employee who was tricked into being a legal representative. I don't earn much money, but I have to bear the debt." I hadn't finished speaking when a shout echoed from outside. "Lily, if you don't pay up, we'll smash your house. Do you believe we'll kill your whole family?" Father's face changed color upon hearing this. He looked at me as if seeing a monster, stepping back 2 paces. I sighed. "Father, this is my life now. There's really no other way. Even though we've severed ties, we were once family. You can't just stand by and watch me die." Mother quickly opened the door, shouting, get away. Whose family with her? We have no money." Then she turned to me, scolding, "If you don't have money, why pretend to live lavishly? What do you need a beautiful house for? This is the company's rental for you." Mother explained, then tried to look sad. "Parents, I'm sorry, I'm useless. I can't help the family earn money anymore. With all this debt, I can't even get married for a dowry. It's a pity my sister is already married, she can't be married off again. Otherwise, we could get a little more dowry money." My brother angrily spit on the floor. "Bad luck. This chair, this carpet can't be kept, they're all bad luck." The 3 of them hurriedly left. Just as they walked out the door, they ran into a group of heavily tattooed men, each with an aggressive demeanor. The leader grabbed my brother's collar, pressing a large knife against his neck. Mother screamed in fear. "Who are you? Do you know Lily?" the leader asked coldly. My brother was so scared he wet his pants, shaking his head repeatedly. Spoiled since childhood, how could he withstand this pressure? Mother quickly denied, "Spare us, we're just here to demand money too." Hearing this, the leader let them go. As they left, the leader stepped in, respectfully saying to me, "Ms. Tu, did we act well?" I smiled and nodded. "Very well." And so, I was able to continue living peacefully. Half a year later, news that shocked the whole country broke. A daughter went mad, set fire, and burned her parents alive. Her brother was on the run. Looking at the familiar locations on the news, I curled my lips into a slight smile. Finally, I had escaped these devilish people. The main culprit was Sophia, and those who died were my parents and brother. In reality, I didn't do anything. I just watched Sophia suffer, occasionally subtly pushing her one step further. I knew her too well, selfish, greedy, and weak, always envying the happiness of others. She feared the strong. Before, mother and father and brother were the strong ones she respected and feared. But after enduring fierce beatings from her in-laws, she no longer considered them truly strong. The aura of strength of mother and father and brother gradually faded, and when she was no longer afraid, she began to hate them, even hating me by association. But unable to touch me, that anger and resentment naturally piled onto mother and father and brother. After multiple miscarriages, Sophia was no longer able to bear children. Her in-laws decided to send her back. My parents had spent all the dowry money and, of course, couldn't return it, but if they wanted to return the person, they were willing to take her back. Perhaps my words had suggested it to them. It was rumored that after being sent back, the 3 of them discussed selling Sophia to the mountain region, which could fetch tens of thousands of yuan. That night, Sophia went to extremes, putting sleeping pills in the family's food, then setting fire to that house. The day I saw that news, I rarely opened a bottle of wine and finished it all. It was sad. Now I was an orphan with no home to return to. I laughed loudly, both amused and as if a great burden had been lifted. Time passed. Once again, my door was forcefully knocked on. I slowly stood up. Several professional bodyguards stood behind me. I opened the door and saw Sophia in a tattered state, still holding a knife. The bodyguards quickly restrained her. "You wretched bastard, how can you live so well? Why are you living better than me? I want to kill you, I want to kill you." Sophia howled, her eyes bloodshot, her face haggard and aged, unsuitable for her years. I elegantly sat on the sofa, smiling faintly. "Isn't this the outcome you deserve? I gave you a chance to live decently before, but you didn't cherish it. You thought if you killed me, you would get a share? What was the result?" Sophia's face turned pale, as if remembering unpleasant memories. No need to think, her past life couldn't have been better than this one. I didn't say another word. "Call the police." Everything was quickly handled. The verdict was immediate execution. Before the execution, she requested to see me, but I didn't go. I just stood by the window, looking up at the sky, towards the future. I would never be bound by the past again.